Let's look at some Sigma gameplay. Alright. I like looking ball third person because it's a bit easier to see what they're doing. But look at Sigma gameplay now. Okay, so we're looking at Cowman. Really mechanically strong off tank. I haven't really watched too much of his gameplay though, to be honest. This is actually the Contenders match between Noble and Revival. So let's see how this goes. The biggest thing I have with off tanks, and I'll always harp on off tanks, is just straight up awareness. Like understanding what they should do when and like where, and like sort of just understanding where everyone is. I really hate going high ground. I think it's really bad. You can poke it, but I don't think you do more. Because you just get booped. Yeah, so like that. What he did over here is smart. You just sort of came up there and just sort of poked, and that's fine. But you shouldn't really push out. I think that grasp is not fully needed, but fine. Because you're not really in threat. You're also holding the shield for way too long. Is there Zen behind you? That's really awkward. Not sure why you want to play over here. This is sort of doesn't make sense because first of all, your Brig isn't getting any value out of Harmony Orb. You can't really Harmony Orb your Echo, right? If you play over here, you could sort of Harmony Orb your Echo. It's a bit better. Over here, it's a much better, but it's awkward because you give a lot of space. So it's just, I don't know, really awkward. Like your Harmony Orb value is really low. Their ball's dead. Your backline can take space. My biggest problem is like the shield economy, because this is how I explained to someone else earlier today. I was talking about shield economy and like understanding like what it means in backline. If you just think about it, when you're in the backline, you need to understand that your value, right? Sure, it comes from the start of the fight and you can do a lot of damage, but your actual main value to me comes in the mid fight, where normally maybe when you push, right? Or when you're just going to be in general just more aggressive. And the thing is, in that mid fight, right, you need to have like CDs. So if you don't have shield in the mid fight, or you don't have like grasp, or you know you don't have like proc inspire, you're not able to proc or something like that before like that mid fight starts happening, then it becomes really hard to take space or like do anything. So to me, in the start of fight, it's really important that you optimize your shield usage and like grasp usage and stuff, so that you're not actually wasting too much, and then you're not taking too many resources. Like you really shouldn't need Harmony Orb. So now going into that is thinking about, okay, if you need to save shield usage, how do you optimize shield usage without not dying? And then if you think about compositions, right? Normally you see Ashe comps, you see, you know, Ashe Tracer, you see like, you know, Tracer Echo, you'll see, I don't know, maybe like Soldier to have here, right? And the biggest thing you have to understand is, okay, what's actually going to harm you? Because if they have a backline that's very similar to yours, right? This is a different backline. But if they have a backline, I'm just going to use this as this example, that's very similar to yours, Brig does nothing. Brig does 0 damage. In distance, Sigma does 0 damage. The only people that you really care about is technically the DPS and the Zen, right? And if they have a Tracer, you don't really care too much about the Tracer either. So it's really the second DPS and the Zen Yada. So understanding where those two are in terms of awareness, and then understanding do you actually need a shield or not is key. Like that's how you should sort of base your shield usage, and then also where you're shielding, like to who you're shielding on, and like do you actually need it? And that's something I think a lot of Sigma players struggle with, because they'll just throw it out just thinking like, oh, willy-nilly they need to use it, when like they don't even need to use it because there's no one going to even do damage to them. Obviously you still have to care Zen right clicks, but then you should understand where the Zen is. So you can see here going into this fight, like shield's like just gone, and you want to take space now. Like luckily you have HP, but your shield's just trashed. And these longer shields where you're throwing them out really far are just really bad because it's just terrible for shield economy. And you don't have grasp in this mid fight to live, so you just lose space. And your backline's high ground, you're just gonna lose because your backline's so split. You should lose this. Yeah, like they have the whole map, and that's why I don't like going high ground. Oh, they also have a Mercy, so there's no way you're gonna win that high ground. There's no way. Oh wow, do you guys turn this? You got your ball Tracer turns it. Lucky. Very lucky. And that's why, like, again, I talked about in the previous video and like the ball video, where it's like, you know, fights aren't won until, you know, they're won. And if it's like the ball Tracer just actually clutched this super hard. Okay, you've got point control. So something you're doing really good, and I want to identify it, is you're doing damage and you're looking somewhere else. right? It's really obvious. I'll go back and show you. Uh, but this is something I want a lot of Sigmas to do because it'll help you with the awareness and scouting and understanding. Because when you're playing Sigma, again, you care about a few things, right? You care about where their core is. You care about where their ball tracer is because of like you can get displaced, right? And specifically in the core, you care about really where their like Ash is and their Zen, right? So when you're shooting and doing damage, right, you look left and right in between the damage to sort of understand, hey, where's the ball tracer? Oh, it's like they're maybe if they have an Ash Mercy, are they flanking? Are they taking another angle? Are they doing like a Ash plus Mercy and then a Sigma plus Zen play, right? So you can sort of like understand that too, and a lot of that comes from just doing something very simple, where you're sort of like looking like this. You shoot and you look in another direction, right? He's checking main, right? And take this even a step further, right? Is like you can go further out. You don't have to just like do short thing. You have time. You can go further out. You can even look the other way too. You can be a bit more open, right? You don't have to be as closed off, but still pretty good. And again, like you think about the shield there, like is it really needed? And the answer is not really. I mean, you're sure you'll take some significant damage, so it's sort of fine. But like going into this mid fight, look at the shield. How much shield do you have? And you have like nothing. Luckily, trance, you have trance, so it's fine. So you can commit shield early if you want to. You can still get it back as a trance. But I really like having the shield in the mid fight. And grasp is gone too. And the other problem is like how far you put shields out. So if you look at this right over here, grasp, fine. If you look at the situation right here, who are you shielding? You're shielding yourself, right? You're shielding yourself so you don't get bursted by the square, right? And maybe you could say you're shielding Tracer, but it doesn't make much sense. The longer your shield's out for, like most people know, right? It just burns the shield. So like literally putting your shield at this far just doesn't make sense. It should just be an in and out. You almost have grass. You're playing a corner, right? I'm not gonna go too much into backline positioning because there's a video for that on Zen. But like in general, you should be playing around like corners and whatnot, so you can always anti-LOS if you need to. Take space. And like the biggest thing I think that's really important to understand is like, well, fine, when do you actually take space, right? And like the answer is 100%. Like it depends on your team's tempo and how aggressive you want to be. But the safe answer is when you know their ball isn't a threat. When you know their ball tracer isn't a threat, or like their echo is not really a threat, and you can look to like go more aggressive, right? If their ball, like let's say you're playing like over here and like their ball's low, you could like go for a more aggressive angle, right? You can maybe like go like more aggressive and push over here and like spam them for another angle and go really aggressive, right? You could go all the way in, but if you push all the way in, ball can get a mega and to come back in. By the time you start rotating, be over like right over here. I'll draw it out, just easier. Like you could be pushing in here, and the ball who's half HP could have got a mega and then start coming back in and start to slam you in mid rotation, and all of a sudden you're dead, right? So you could go for those risky plays and go really aggressive like that if you want, especially if you have an echo. It's sort of viable because you're committing really aggressive, and with your echo like shift, you're trying to commit in and go aggro, but it's risky, right? So instead of that, like you can go for a more safe option where you go for a more aggressive angle and you look to like pressure them from another angle while forcing point and getting value from your angle, and then your ball tracer like is able to do a little bit less or not feel as much stress. And then if their ball tracer comes in, right, you're in a position that's not as good as the previous position. It might be as good if you're lucky, right, or better, but you're weighing more like aggression, like you're weighing more like aggro into like than like your positioning because you're trying to get a bit more value while still being safe at the same time. Now, if their ball's dead, right, then 100% you can like go in and int, right? If there's tracers dead, right, it's a bit safer and you can still go more aggressive too because it's just ball now and you have a brig, but still you should still be a little bit scared. Oh. Okay, scouting, getting your shield back. You have flux. Like all this like shield looks sort of like you're going into this fight, you're not gonna have any shields. Luckily you have flux, so I guess it's fine. And like what's awkward is like it's not your job to contest the echo. But what I would say it is I'll look at third person a second, but it is your job to sort of like deny the squishies a little bit and deny beam if possible. So your backline just doesn't get like rolled. Which I feel like is happening quite a few times actually. Like this echo shouldn't just be able to come in and just kill people. Because look where you are. Look where you are and look where your backline is. Right? So like if that echo is able to come in and just shift and like just like sticky and blue beam your Zen and you're not able to shield any of that off, that's like a massive problem. And like this is like one of the issues that a lot of Sigma players have is like they're very like kill hungry or they want to get a lot of value. Where if you think about like the value in this comp comes from your Zen, right? Your Zen and honestly like it's Zen, Ball, Tracer, and then depending on your DPS, right? But like that's just the value. Like these two guys are like very supportive heroes, right? They're supportive heroes. You need to like make sure your Zen doesn't die because if your Zen dies at the start of a fight, it's a massive problem. Like your Echo just shouldn't be able to die like that. I'm not saying you can do much on Sigma, but like that's a problem. And you try and peel here. And then your Brig Zen split here. That's what happens when their Echo just kills you. So again, as long as the start of the fight, your backline is living, and the Echo isn't able to do as much, then you should be good. But like an Echo shouldn't just be able to shift in and like Discord beam something. Like you need to keep that into account because like the thing is like the enemy team is putting so many resources into their Echo. Luckily they don't have a Zen here, but if they have a Zen too, shift like damage boost plus Discord, that'll like really blow you up. But taking space again, same concept, right? Like sort of taxi the backline with you. Get into a position, and I'll briefly talk about it just because I guess I'm going to talk about backline really fast. But get into a position where you have a corner, where you have distance, where you have good LOS, where you have distance from angles, so Ball Tracer can't just sneak up on you, and you have good rotation options. So that when you have an advantage, you can look to like rotate and like go more aggressive, right? And like this rotation isn't necessarily, this place isn't necessarily bad, right? Look at this place, like you can see over here, you can see over there, right? You can sort of see behind. The problem is there's just too many angles though. There's too many angles the enemy team can come in from, right? And that's a problem, right? You can see everything really well, but it's too many angles. Whereas the other option is playing here, right? But the problem with playing in here is you're playing to absorb. Here, there's like very few angles a person can come from, right? But it's very hard for you to take space here. Your LOS is not very good, right? Your rotation options also are sort of like very limited. Whereas here, your rotation options are, you can rotate over here, right? You can rotate, you can push forward. You could go for a longer flank like this, but this rotation itself is just really strong. Sorry if you can hear screaming in the background. But yeah. I'm gonna say there's something else I was gonna add. Yeah, so like the way to think about backline and the way I've always thought about it is you want to try and prevent the enemy engage, then you want to try and absorb if you can't prevent it, and then you want to try and like push or like go for like a rotation. This is the way I look at it. And like again, like shooting Echo is like sort of useless as shitty as it sounds. Like it's just not that much value. Oh, you missed that. Like to me, who you should be poking a lot of the time is like the backline if you can, like pressuring the Zen and hardcore pressuring the Sigma. And if you see Ball Tracer, those are also like not a bad target at all. Like you should save Rock for Ball primarily because if you just CC lock him, that's just such a massive advantage because your backline, because you can push forward, so you're not scared anymore. Like using it on a Sigma is just gonna get shielded. But looking more to like pressure their tanks and breaking their Sigma shield, because if you also break Sigma shield really fast, right, then like on top of that, your Zen's able to just do a lot. What is that? Oh, that's funny. Let's look at this. Okay, running Echo again. Again, like Like, just look at that shield. Like, it's so much, like, gone. And, like, the question you have to ask yourself is, like, are you really scared of that much poke? Right? And can you dodge that too? Right? Like, sure, you can't fully dodge that and you're scared of it, so you take it. Fine. And your shield will come back, so it's not that big of an issue. But, yeah. Like, I'll talk quickly about this map. It's my favorite map to talk about. It's so misunderstood. Right? Playing this area right over here is, in my opinion, not in my opinion, is honestly the answer is just broken. You have distance from angles, so it's very hard for the enemy team to like sort of come at you. Like your brig can do it unless they come from behind, which still isn't that bad. You have insanely good LOS. You have very good rotation options where you can look to rotate more aggressively this way, like this way, go this way. You have such good rotation options, right? So and then you've also got you got LOS, rotation options, and distance from angles, and you've got a corner, right? Whereas a lot of people tend to play in here, right? And the problem with playing in here is you don't have distance from angles. So instead of trying to prevent the engage, right? Because distance from angles allows you to prevent the engage because you've got time so you can actually shoot the ball and shoot things before they get on you, right? When you're playing here, right, you're playing immediately to absorb their ball. And you can play like that if you want, but you're letting their stuff get a little bit more value. Really aggressive here, push forward. And like this is risky, right? Like this is like the more risky playstyle, and you'll see exactly what happens here because of it. Your Zen dies. Your Zen is like your carry, right? And whenever you push to take space, right? Whenever you want to do something like that, you should understand where their ball is and be aware. When you're taking this ego fight or this engage, and not really ego fight, my bad, but like you're taking this engage because your ball is going to slam and you can kill a Sigma, right? The question is, sure, you can do this, right? And you can take space, but then where is these guys? If your ball tracer is going aggressive, these guys go back and trade and kill your backline, then to be honest, like you're gonna have a problem. Right? And that's exactly what happens here. Like your Zen ends up dying. Because you rotate an open space and you allow their tracer just to get ball tracer to get insane value. And now your team's completely split. And you're sort of in Narnia, you're in open space and you're not able to help them. You're fragging more than being supportive, right? And while your play isn't necessarily bad, right? It's not necessarily bad, it's just incredibly risky. And it's honestly greedy is the way I look at it. Right? It's greedy. Because you're hoping for inherent value by pushing forward and to kill something, while at the stake of sort of like, getting out of a really safe position for your backline and hope that they don't die on a rotation. Now you lose this fight. If you just stayed back there and your backline stayed back there, that ball would have just been stunned out, right? You would have forced the ball out, then you could have gone for a more aggressive rotation, then you probably would have just won the fight. Your ball tracer got such good value there. Your Sigma would be like 1 HP. Your Echo should have been able to kill it. Because you also think about it this way too. Do you even really need your damage in this situation? You've got these 3 divers. If these 3 people, plus a Discord, plus some spam damage, right, can't kill something, I'm going to question these 3 people. If these 3 people plus a Discord can't kill one thing, that's like a massive question mark in my eyes. Again, like what I'm gonna keep pointing out here, like you're looking around, right? And it's not bad, but to me, you're so focused on the enemy Sigma and like the Echo that you barely notice really where this ball is till the ball's already there. And I know it's not your job, right? But the way I described it to someone else is, to me, you should be looking at 70% of the enemy core and 30% of the ball tracer, just to give you an understanding of where they are. And I'll tell you why in a second. Okay, so normally you're doing probably, in my opinion, close to 90% of core, and you're taking this to the next level of where you're probably splitting this up into understanding of, oh, do they have some off angle DPS? Okay, and then they have like the core, which is like, their Sigma, Zen, in this case they have a BAP, right? So you're taking this to the next level of like splitting this up, which is really good, but you don't do this. And now why I'm saying you need to know where this ball tracer is because if you know where this ball tracer is, you're going to be looking to rotate or path in ways that will make it even harder for ball. If you know that ball is right over here, if your Echo sort of scouted that and saw that, right, then you probably would have come like this, right? So there's more distance again for that ball to close, and it gives more time for your Brig and Zen to get value. If you know in the mid fight, right, that like, oh, the ball, like, your ball and your tracer say, oh, we're fighting ball tracer this side, right? You could be like, okay, cool, right? Then you can look to push this way. Why? Because then even if their ball tracer wins, they have to close way more distance to get to you. right? And you don't always need your team to vocalize this. This can just sort of be you're shooting over here, you look over there, and you see the ball sort of there, and you see the tracer there. You're like, okay, fine. You see the ball glimpse there, like, okay, the tracer's maybe there too. You know, I can maybe go a little bit more aggressive on this angle. Oh, that was a pretty insane rock. You're taking space, right? And like it's the same problem. I'm gonna tell you right now. The question you have to ask yourself is where's that ball? And that ball's a cycle hero, right? So that ball's gonna come back. I don't even know where he is. Oh, he's over there. You should go on your backline. You're very lucky here. Muma should have killed your Zen here. Very lucky. In fact, the fact that Muma is this passive here is really weird. Because he, like if he slammed Zen there, that would have been it. Like your Zen would have died. That would have been super free. I'm not sure why he went all the way back middle and then didn't slam. He should have just killed your Zen. The big mistake by him actually. Like, and then again, by the way, if you were there for the ball robot review, that's mid-fight decision making, right? That like is really, really imperative. Now you're pushing forward. You have to make some type of play because their, Echo is getting way too much value. So yeah, not sure what your ball tracer is doing because your ball tracer should be killing their BAP or pressuring their BAP a lot. Yeah. Feels like you guys are trying to play really fast, but struggling. And a lot of that, in my opinion, is because you just don't deny the ball. Your ball just gets away with murder because you guys don't position. Again, like same thing. You're playing over here, and you're like the ball's right there, right? Like if you rotated over here, right, did a different rotation, would have been very different. Ball slams on you guys. You get rocked. You're forced to grasp because you're low. You don't want to die. Ball's left, and like you see the ball left there. It's like right now you should be thinking about pushing forward. You did balls under pressure. Or you punish the ball, that's fine too. Punish ball. Okay, ball's dead, right? Technically want to push forward here. Well, again, what I'm going to keep noticing though is like you keep splitting from your backline a lot. Like a lot. To the point where I'm curious how much value your Zen actually is getting. Because your job is a supportive Sigma. And what I mean by that is your job is to amplify your Zen by allowing your Zen to have a shield and allowing your Zen to feel like your Zen can do whatever the hell your Zen wants to do. But because you feel like you're splitting so much, right? My question is, I'm curious how much actually is your Zen able to get out of? And is it worth you getting the value you're out of, right, instead of your Zen? And in my opinion, I'd rather have my Zen getting the value. Like just look at this situation. Look where you are, and the Zen was right over there. Like you can see these mid fights where it's so scrappy because you're in like a position that's so awkward. Like you're literally in like the middle of the map, and even then, like the positioning of you guys being in the middle of the map is really weird. Like when you're in the middle of here, you need to like commit. You can't just stay here like this. Like you're gonna get rolled, right? Again, enemy team has like 2 mobile DPS. They can just kill like non-mobile people very easily, and when ball comes, it's even worse, right? So like you can't like be in these positions. You have to push up and engage if you want to go kill something, or back off to like a safe spot and like play your safe spot. And then your Briggs End just die. Like if you're noticing, by the way, a lot of these fights that you're losing is because your backline's dying. You're winning normally because your front line's getting value, but your backline's dying so much. Your backline's actually just getting shredded. The fights you win is because your ball tracer is carrying, or you have ultimates. Shield looks like shield usage pretty decent here. Like you're playing over here, you want to go really brawly. You've got McCree, so playing there makes sense. You can just go into him really fast. Nice, push hard. Again, like that awareness understanding, right? Like I'm gonna keep saying it. Like Mercy Echo, very scary off angle. Ball Tracer, another one. Sigma Zen or Sigma BAP in this situation, right? Echo went right, and that's when you think about rotating forward, right? You should be thinking about there's an Echo beam and a sticky. As soon as I rotate forward, I'm gonna get beamed on. Do you really care about a BAP damage versus damage boosted Echo? The answer is you probably care a lot more about that Echo, and then the ball's there too, right? And again, I'm not expecting you to be able to know that there's a ball behind you, an echo, you know, in the core, but you should definitely know. One sec, where's my thing? You should definitely know 2 of the 3, so that you're saving resources for certain things to be able to deny it. Cowman wasn't able to be here, so I'm just doing it, and he can watch it later. He can DM me questions if he has it. Again, it's the same thing. Your backline dies, but your ball tracer is just winning. And like to me, that's like a very weird trade. Like to me, that's not how this comp is like played. Like it's fine if your backline, like if your frontline's like doing a really good job, but your backline should live more. Oh, because you're seeing your backline just getting demolished. Couldn't absorb that. That was just rough. I think you lost this. Okay, you're back. Down a lot. You just need to live. Trying to live. Your ball's on point. Not sure why you're on point. You should probably give point a bit more. Should have played corner. You're gonna die. No. Should have just played over here. Let your ball touch and whatnot, and just sort of chill. Try and get 5 people, but it's fine. There's not much you can do to prevent like that last play where they mine and pulse. There's not much you can do about it. But what you can do about it, right, is be in a position where you're not playing to absorb. Do you want to absorb a pulse mines? No, you want to prevent a pulse mines, right? So if you want to prevent a pulse mines, would you play in here? No, you'd play over here, so you could try and prevent the tracer and ball from coming in at the first place, right? Try and prevent them from coming in. So either you play over here and try and prevent their play slower, play slow, or you play really close and just go first on them instead of like trying to like absorb it. And that's what they're doing. By playing here, you're absorbing it. You can start here and then rotate in, like sure, but then you gotta like make sure you move and go fast. And that's on like your ball tracer, scouting, and echo. Echo's really strong here. I think it's one of the maps you could like get away with running like Echo Ash if you really wanted to. Well, it would take a bit more space though, but okay. This is fine. Nice, nice. Okay. Yeah, my biggest thing is like understand the fact of is your Zen even behind you? And I don't think your Zen is because your Zen's playing here, right? So like you're just shielding yourself, right? So like you can really like very hardcore play very close to this and like sort of be okay. You don't need to like shield everything because you have like actual shield that you have and you can regen that. So like you're using grasp to live, and I think you can squeeze that also a bit more, but it's fine. You can limit test that more. You need to take the high ground a bit more. Oh, you can do this. This is not a bad play. And same thing. The same thing that's always happening and how you're dying is this understanding of like your positioning and then the ball's positioning. Like you're playing over here and this is like one of the worst places to play. Like this is a very risky push because they can just punish you. But if you played over here, it's a lot less risky because there's a corner and high ground. By playing here though, you can just get booped. It's exactly what happens and you just die. Like you're in open space, like there's no corner, there's no way to really deal with that ball cleanly. So yeah. And then Echo just comes in and just capitalizes and kills you. And then your backline's like just Sigma Zen now. And your ball tracer has to get value. And then enemy team stabilizes, kills your ball. You lost. Pretty hard retake. Yeah. They're all set up. Just make sure you carry your positioning more and have a better understanding of where this ball tracer is. You position yourself in a way where you're like, you know, again, those 4 things, you sort of understand that better and you don't like go on rotations before, you know, the ball tracer's forced out or at least pressured, you'll be in a much better place. If you are gonna go for those plays, then you need to like make sure that like your backline's ready for it. Same problem here too, in my opinion. You're spamming, it's really good. Actually, no, it's not the same problem. Well, ball slam's fine, that can't really be prevented. You're on this side, and look where the Zen is. You're on this side. So what's your Zen forced to do now? Your Zen is forced to use right clicks instead of left clicks because your Zen doesn't have a shield and is forced to sort of like go with environment, right? So like that's a problem. Also, there's a beam happening here that you could easily shield off, and now your Echo is probably gonna die, which shouldn't really happen either. I'd partly blame your Echo on that, but I could also say you could bid a little bit more aware too. So yeah, you could have your Brig Zen play this side too, but then the LOS is sort of shitty, so this side's normally the go-to. But again, like if you look at Mudkip, let's see how much value actually Mudkip's really getting. I'm telling you right now, it's probably just gonna be right clicks. And the thing you think about it, should Mudkip really be doing right clicks? And the answer is no. They have no long range damage that actually scares him. The only thing Mudkip's actually scared of is this. This is it. These three guys going on him instantly. Right? That's it. And that's just him tracking and then dynamically positioning as the situation goes. Right? So he should be able to left click and like do as much damage as he wants. Because like in range, there's nothing that scares him. And then as that ball takes more space, he can like rotate and do other things. Like right now, he can be a bit more careful because that ball's there. Right? And like that's where like he has trance, so fine. But like dynamically positioning. I'm gonna go back to Calman. But that's sort of what I'm getting at. Like you need a physician to help your Zen more and give your Zen more value. You're a little selfish. That's a general problem among most off tanks, to be honest. Like all of his poke is great. Oh, this is really low forward. You understood what the Echo is. The ball you didn't fully know. Echo comes in. Okay. Another minefield, I think. Or same one. Okay, that's a nutty ass rock. Holy crap. That's a huge flux. So like, I want you to look at this and see why this is a huge flux. So right over here pushing in, right? Their ball's in right now. Their ball is gonna get forced out right now because you pressure the ball. The ball gets pressured out, right? And once that ball is pressured out, there's nothing stopping you from taking space. Where's the ball? The ball's out. And as soon as that ball is pretty much out, right? Like you can take space and you can push. And like that's when you really want to W. Because you're like there's nothing stopping you. There's nothing that they can do, right? Unless you use an ultimate maybe that they can do. So from you taking space here. Like this is when you go, you know what? Oh, I'm gonna do whatever I want. And I'm gonna go hyper aggro. And like that's what, in my opinion, you need to like make sure you differentiate these two situations and sort of like establish like sort of a limit testing system a little bit, practice a bit more, and then understand what you can get away with and what you can't. But your backline just really shouldn't die or be like as much as they are, and they need to be like supported a bit more. And this shield economy, like that can't happen. This can't happen. This is crazy that this is happening over here, and like there's no like shield support or anything. Like that's crazy that like actually Mudkip lived there, to be honest. Pedal. Like it's also crazy in all honesty is that Muma's able to get from here to here without even being like pressured. That's also crazy. Because to me, like you're shooting down main to build alt charge, but also there needs to be some understanding of awareness of like what's happening in this lane. If you're actually gonna play there. Like the reason for me you playing here is because you can deny and pressure this side here. Right? And like also like pressure main. Otherwise if you want to pressure main, you can just play here and get a much better LOS. By playing here, you can actually pressure this lane. But the fact that like actually your Zen doesn't die here is pretty crazy. Because like they have a tracer, and if they actually played this correctly, all three would have gone in, your Zen's dead. 100%. Got really lucky here. And the stickies like didn't really do much either. And then you peel. Again, because you're also split, by the way, it makes it harder for you to get peels when they're like Brig comp or Zen comp. Because when you're together inherently, like you support each other just by being together, which makes it makes it more of a threat for them to do damage to you. But when you're split, it's an easier target for you to just get dove on and get blasted. Okay. Just out of your range. It's annoying. You're looking to rotate. Fine. Ball again comes in. You're pressuring their core more than you're pressuring the ball. And I think that's not necessarily bad, but with your composition, right? You already have this. You have these three people that can pressure their core. Like I think you need to also pressure if these guys are gonna be hyper aggro and go really on their backline, you need to like focus ball and tracer like a little bit more. Not necessarily tracer, but like ball a little bit more so that it's a bit easier again for your backline. If you had an Ash, I'd say fine, makes sense, right? Like your Ash 1-2 shots, like one here and there on the ball, you could be really focused on their Sigma, really focus on other things and like look to get value. But yeah, again, same problem. Like in all honesty, to me, I'm actually really shocked they just didn't punish you more. And I think the reason why they're not able to punish you more is because they just force out your ball tracer, and then once they do that, they go for your Zen, which to me just doesn't make sense. You're a solo Sigma, you should just die. Like to me, they should kill you every single time. And I'm not sure what they're doing. They're really focused on your Zen. And they can just shield off your Zen. And they have a lamp too, so. Oh, that was pretty nice mechanics right there. We'll try and speed this up a little bit because I don't want to keep saying the same things. Talked about target focus, target priority, positioning, shield economy, grasp. Okay. And this is good. Like you're like again, I just one last time, but like here, like you're over here, right? And you're poking, and like this is all great, like to poke if you can get the poke. But like again, like here, you're sort of like tunneling main a lot, right? Like you look left here, okay, great, right? I'm hoping your team is saying like where the ball is. If the team is saying where the ball is, then I hope that you're looking to like pressure that ball a bit more. But it feels like this ball just gets in for free every single time. Like that really just again shouldn't happen. Bad scouting and then bad pressure. Die again. Like you're literally just because you're positioning. Like you also think about it this way too. I'll put it this way as well. By you positioning over here, right, instead of over here, right? There, it's the same. Technically, it's the same distance, right? But if you kite, because you want to kite, you're probably going to kite back this way, right? Which is rough because that's again further away from your team. If you play over here, you're probably going to kite back this way, which is going to be more with your team, right? So you'll get constantly getting support. So this is inherently just also just going to be better in that sense too. It's waste grasp. That might hurt. I think it hurts you over here because you don't have grasp when you need it. Yeah, that sucks. I rocked. It wouldn't have mattered. But you can see your ball tracer is doing so much. Because enemy team doesn't declare your ball tracer, and your ball tracer just comes in and just slams and gets value every single time. It's actually pretty insane, to be honest. Your ball tracer is able to do that. Okay, we're gonna speed this up again. We'll look at attack. Okay, pressuring. That's a great flux on rotation. Nice kill. That's just like very good flux. Really proactive. Really good. I think you're very good at like at being proactive. I think you have a very good understanding of like when you want to be proactive. Like about like 70% of the time you do it, like it's really good. But there's like a small smidget time where like you don't fully understand why you or don't understand the logic of what you're doing, or like you have a thought in your head of what you want to do, but it's not necessarily correct. You went proactive here. That's not necessarily bad. I think it's fine. I just wish your backline was more aggressive, but it's fine. Okay, let's look at attack. So we saw like point control, and like point control is a lot easier. Attack here is way more difficult because like rotations are super severe, or like they're like pretty difficult rotations. Okay. Grasping, fine. Rotated backline here. Okay. Echo needs to probably go make a move or flank. Ball tracers behind them. That's really good. You can take space now. That's great. Your ball dies, but you can still go forward. It's still winnable because you have a Zen. You force the lamp. Their ball is going to make a move now. You use grasp. You don't have shield. This is fine. This is good. Your CDs were really good here. Like this is like great. Like you go in with full shield here, right? Like I wish you dropped it there, but you know, whatever, it's fine. right? You're using shield again, fine. Like, you know, you use grasp earlier, you use grasp again because you have no shield. You grasp all your team's damage, you take it, right? Using grasp, you get your shield back again. And you're able to push back out with it. Like, this is super good. Like, your shield economy is great here. I don't think you need to shield this early though, because you have literally like so much, you know, shield health. This was like played super well. You played this really well. That was really good. I just wish you like at the end there you just didn't use your shield as much and just depended on your shield you gained from grasp and body blocked a lot more. Because like the other way to look at it too is again their composition is they don't have a lot of direct damage. So if you're just straight up body blocking, that's fine because they're not even only fully gonna look at you too. They have to look at your echo. If they don't look at your echo like frags. They don't look at your ball tracer frags, right? So like they're not fully gonna look at you. So you can use that time to get yourself more value. And again, all you have to do is live here because their ball's dead if I remember correctly. Yeah, then you can push forward. It was really good. It was really clean. Oh, wrong button. I'll answer questions at the end. Take space again. Problem I have is where's ball? Your ball's low. Like you didn't even look right. Ooh. Should have looked right. It feels like when you do your shooting, you look like a little bit one direction, and then you always stay to that direction. You never like look left and right. Like I'm not saying you can do that in one shot, but you shoot once, look right, then shoot again, look left. You know, like you're crossing the road, look left and right. And also like poke more to scout before even walking up. Just poke and like scout a little bit. Echo's got to be forced out. Nice. Oh, you're Zen. Nice. Okay. I think you might roll here, to be honest. Oh, that echoes one. There's ball. Took space. Oh, this is... Ooh. Your backline lives, you win. Oh, never mind. Pulse. Oh. Man. This is like really good. Like you carried your Zen so much here. If your Brig didn't die there, you would have won that. Guarantee you. It just sucked your Brig died there. Like that's what I mean by bodyguarding your Zen, like making sure your Zen like is able to live. Normally it's your Brig's job, but your job is also because you have a shield. That was a pretty neat shot. You can win this fight too. Mind's Flux Trance, really winnable. Force the Sigma out. I wonder if there's a rollout to knock that Sigma into you. Okay, Sigma Grasp, flow shield, force ball out. Now you take space. This is really good. You're in a really good spot. It's a great flux. Great flux. Oh wow, this is absolutely badass. Oh, this is badass. Like, and like the logic again, why this works is because of the fact that you pressure this ball out early on. As soon as you pressure this ball out, there's no way, right, that your backline dies. And then you trance too. There's no way, and this is go time. And again, like I said, you have a very good understanding of like sometimes when you actually go aggressive with your fluxes and stuff like this, when to go. But it feels like sometimes when you're on defense, like when you have point control, you don't carry your backline sometimes, or when you're retaking sometimes, you just don't carry your backline. You just want to go in for value. When you can carry your backline more and go for more rotational like aggression instead of going for like a straightforward aggression that forces you in open space. And I think that'll fix a lot if you just fix your aggression understanding and you fix your CD usage so that you sort of look to go for more CD usage. You try and live more at the start. Like you don't use as much CDs at the start. Look to use them more later. Try and get more value in the mid fight because that's when you're actually pushing. And then based off and how you're gonna do that is based off understanding of an awareness of what the actual people that are threats are in your team or the enemy team, like an Ashe, a Zen, right? And making sure you're shielding off those people. Don't just shield off meaningless damage that barely does anything.